Yes.
Raghavendra.
I think we will have the first Mr. Raghavendra Rao and then Ella.
Okay. Thank you, Professor. Please, Mr. Raghavendra Rao, freelance consultant from India, from Mysuru, to start with presentation composting and vermicomposting. Please, Mr. Rao, floor is yours. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. And happy to be back. I was here a couple of days ago as the co-chair, and it's good to be a person who's going to present today. I'll just try and see whether my PowerPoint works, because that's the way by which I want to communicate with the participants. And let me see, is that sort of visible?
Not yet.
Not yet. Is it visible now?
No.
Please share the screen on the.
You have on the middle screen, you have this green one, share screen.
Okay, one second. Okay. Yes.
Yes, it's okay.
Is it sharing now?
Yes, can you enlarge it, make it full screen?
I will make it full screen in a minute. Yes.
Now perfect.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Am I audible?
Of course.
Yes.
Cool. Okay then. Thank you very much once again to both Dr. Vesna and Dr. Uygun. Very happy to hear that Dr. Uygun is a certified organic farmer. I was a certified organic farmer too. I used to grow vegetables and fruits in southern Andhra Pradesh in a dry area. And as all of you know, as all the participants know in this group, we are talking about sustainable agriculture, biodiversity, and organic agriculture. And in that, composting is one major activity that has to be done by organic farmers. Okay, so in the slides I'm going to run you through, actually a composting thing isn't ideal to be a talk. It should be done on a field somewhere so that the participants can get to know what the processes are, what happens when you're trying to do composting, and what the ideal situation is for you to convert organic matter into a valuable, nutrient-dense material for growing fruits and vegetables. So I hope to make it as interactive as possible. I hope to make it as practical as possible. I've included a few slides to show you the processes that I am using on my own terrace to grow organic vegetables, and I hope it'll help. I also have a request. When this session is over, I hope that many of you participants will start some form of composting in your own places, and please share with me. My email is there and my mobile number is also there. Please feel free to get in touch, because the only way that we can improve it is to share experiences and share ideas. Thank you very much. So I start. Well, this is it. We know what it is. It's a natural process. We don't need to use any artificial materials. And it's just a way of recycling organic matter into very high quality fertilizer using biological processes. And what is organic matter? Plastic isn't organic matter, neither is metal organic matter. Everything else which grows on this earth, is organic. So it can be divided into three. Kitchen waste, which is produced in every kitchen: tea leaves, coffee grounds, fruit peels, vegetable matter, food scraps, everything is organic. And if you have a yard or a garden, then when you mow your lawn, or the leaves fall from the trees, twigs that fall to the ground, bird droppings, all that is organic matter. And if you go to a larger scale, if you have an agricultural farm like Dr. Aksoy has, then agricultural waste, and trees and leaves and twigs and all that which come from the farm products, that forms agricultural waste, which is organic matter. Okay, and why is composting important? I mean, it's an obvious thing. It's good for the environment, because if composting wasn't done, then we humans would be in a pile of litter, basically. But thanks to biological organisms like bacteria and fungi, they help us to break this organic matter down and convert it into a nutrient-dense substrate which aids in plant growth. Any organic farmer will tell you this. A good soil means good plants means good production. Okay. The other important thing is that we hear a lot about organic material going into landfills. And when this happens, the organic material gets composted, anaerobic decomposition starts happening, and that releases greenhouse gases, which causes a problem that we are all in now. Everybody knows it. We are on the brink of a disaster now, where Homo sapiens may cease to exist on the planet. It will be good for the planet, but if we are concerned about our own existence here, we've got to be careful. We've got to make sure that we recycle all the organic matter that we produce in such large amounts. Okay, and is composting easy? People who haven't done it may think it's a difficult process, but I say yes, it is easy, very, very easy. But you need the will, you need to have a wish that you want to do composting, and the desire that you want to see your organic waste that you're generating either from your agricultural land or from your garden or from your kitchen. You have to have the desire to convert that into a nutrient-dense medium. Okay, and how does one go about it? What are the ingredients? Well, as I told you, because we're doing it, I'm talking about it on a small scale now. We're talking about from the kitchen, from our household, how we start composting. So this I've shown in the picture, some organic waste that's generated in my kitchen. This is a day's waste, not very large, a few hundred grams, but you can see things that are familiar. You'll have it in your own kitchen. These are cabbage leaves and cabbage stalk, which has been chopped up. And on the right-hand side, you can see onion peels, coriander leaves, the tea leaves, and stuff like that. Things that normally gets generated in a kitchen. For people who drink coffee, coffee grounds will get generated. Because I drink tea, there are tea leaves here that you can see. Okay, for the composting process, you also require a container because you need to keep the organic matter together in order for it to compost. Another important ingredient is moisture. You have to have the right amount of moisture, and then you require patience and the ability to observe, because you're an experimenter. If you haven't done it before, you're an experimenter. You're doing composting for the first time, so you're experimenting with it. Okay, there's a lot of information that's available on the web. You can see YouTube videos where people have done conversion of organic wastes into compost. But unless you do it on your own, you become an expert. It's very difficult to learn from these videos. You have to do it practically. And once the ingredients have been assembled, then it's very, very simple to do. The following steps will tell you. Okay, so people will talk about carbon-nitrogen ratios. People will talk about excessive moisture or less moisture, but things like that. But what you should do is you should experiment a little bit, try and tweak things a little bit, and then you'll be well on the way to becoming a organic waste compost maker yourself. It's very, very simple. Okay, so you've got to observe. If you find that there are fruit flies and other flies that are coming in, you may want to cover it with a lid or a wire mesh. If it's too wet, you add shredded newspaper, which there's a lot of, and newspapers contain bad news. So it's better to shred them and put them into the compost heap, because I've rarely seen a newspaper which has good news these days. Okay. The next thing, oh man, what's happening? It's not, okay. Okay. So you will observe, once you start the composting, when everything is assembled together, that miraculously the organic matter gets colonized by a lot of microorganisms that you cannot see with the naked eye. But you can also see some macroorganisms like earwigs and small beetles and cockroaches, which invade the organic heap, because all of them use this organic material as food and break it down. Okay, so once the breakdown process starts, that means the composting process has initiated. And in a matter of time, it takes a little time, it will get, this organic matter will get converted into high quality compost. And if earthworms are introduced into that process, into that equation, then it's known as vermicompost, V-E-R-M-I. Because those are the mesofauna in the soil which convert organic matter into high quality, a nutrient dense medium that promotes plant growth. Okay, so as I told you, this should have been a practical demonstration, but then the idea is that you experiment, you observe, you tweak if it's required, and then you experiment again. And once you start achieving results, then you share information with other people, because that's very important. Information is the only resource in this world which gets the quality of which gets enriched with sharing. Any other resource in this world, the more you use it, the more degradation happens. Information is one resource where it constantly improves, because you share, you experiment, you see what's gone right or what's gone wrong, and then somebody else improves on that. That's the way information grows. That's the way the world becomes a better place to live in. Okay, and we've heard about this: think globally and act locally. So the time has come where each one of us, every one of us on this planet, should act locally and with a global view in mind. The idea is to make the world a better place to live in. We are 9 billion people now on this planet. Even assuming 50% of them poor people, I pity them. They're in bad situations, high poverty, no livelihoods, degraded natural resources, wars in their countries. So they're in a mess. But the other 4 billion, we at least, if we try and do something, we can improve the quality of the world. So this is the sequence of change. This is my own sort of terrace. Okay, so we start off with raw organic matter. You see a lot of peels, and those are papaya skins. You see coffee grounds and tea leaves. And in a matter of 3 weeks, 21 days, you see what transformation has happened. Okay, it's already become black and humusy. That means biological activity is taking place there. Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and other insects, are helping to break the organic matter down. Okay, here in 8 weeks' time, you see what's happened. Oh, sorry. Okay, in 8 weeks' time, it's further breakdown of the material. Insects are eating things, bacteria is breaking things down, fungal hyphae have penetrated the medium and are sort of causing the medium to break down. And in 10 weeks' time, 2.5 months, you have this product, which is vermicompost, because we are doing it through the action of worms. You have seen them here. And these are the vermicastings that are produced, very, very high in nutrition. It's a very dense kind of medium, nutrient dense kind of medium, which makes plants grow like nobody's business, because they've got growth hormones in them. They've got antifungal properties. They've got it's a sort of a nature's gift to organic farmers, vermicastings. Okay? Then once you harvest your vermicompost from the vermicompost pit that you're left with a number of worms which become ready for another cycle of compost. They're ready to make compost. They don't get tired. Some of them may die, but then they produce more, and because they're hermaphrodites, they mate through the clitellum and produce cocoons, and each cocoon has about 8 to 9 worms. So their population sort of grows exponentially if you give them the right conditions. And completing the cycle, we are talking about cyclical economies these days. We're talking about cycles in nature, because ecology and nature, they're always sort of cycles that strengthen each other. So the compost goes into the soil produces the plant. A healthy plant is produced because the soil is healthy. There are pollinators which help to pollinate the flowers and grow fruits. Here you can see tomatoes, you can see some bitter gourd, you can see cabbages and yard-long beans. You can also see a lot of ornamental plants. All these things, they've found out in these COVID times that greenery or fresh air actually lowers people's anxiety. Anxiety levels have been really high during this COVID period. And once you do this, when you create a garden of biodiversity, you have flowers which again sort of make you happy. There are different flowers. I'm sure you'll notice some of them which are native to your area as well. For example, these are potato flowers. Yep. And there are other sort of flowers which attract pollinators and help in pollination and production of good fruit and vegetables. Okay, this is another thing. When you have thriving nature around you, you have biodiversity, and these are insects. Several of them. There are several species of butterflies that I see in my garden. All these are from my garden, from my terrace garden. Photographs of which I'd shown you before. There are spiders. And this is a spider here which has caught hold of a bee. Unfortunately, that's a problem, but that's how nature works. There are some predators, there's lots of prey, and that's how pest populations are kept under control in a healthy agroecological system. That's what we're talking about now: organic farming, agroecology, and stuff like that. On the right-hand corner, the bottom corner, you see a pupa of a butterfly, and a couple of days later, it was transformed into this butterfly that you see here. Okay. Another thing that I want to point out is this thing. I wonder whether you can see my cursor moving. That's a blue-banded bee. Very, very important in the ecosystem when you're growing solanaceous crops like tomato or chili or capsicum. Yeah, because these are buzz pollinators, and solanaceous vegetables require buzz pollinators because they go onto the anther, then they buzz and they create the pollination. They do a good job of pollination. That's how you get a high yield of solanaceous crops if you have these blue-banded bees. So you've got to create an ecosystem so that you have all these pollinators together. Bees, butterflies, moths at night, for example. You create a healthy ecosystem, and then good things follow. And lastly, to conclude, I had no choice but to take these 3 things. You must have seen them. These are catchwords of big corporations which rule the world now, unfortunately. But these are the things that I would use to encourage you to go ahead and start doing composting today. If you start doing it today, then by the end of the year, if all of us, even if 10% of the participants here do that, then we can produce a small amount of compost. We can make a composite sample of that compost, and then through the good offices of the Grassroots Institute and Dr. Parviz Kuaf Khan, who's going to be a speaker, I've had the opportunity of meeting him 2.5 decades ago in the FAO, because I used to work in FAO India as a farming systems expert. So if we could do that, make a composite sample of the vermicompost, we could pack it up in banana leaves and make a presentation to Mr. Antonio Guterres of the UN. Hopefully, then the UN will declare the coming years as the years of composting, because they need catchphrases. You know, the UN works on catchphrases. They've said it was the year of biodiversity. They say it's the year of women, but it's all only for a year. It stops after that. What we need to impress upon the Secretary General now is that you can't postpone things anymore. Every year has got to be a year of women, a year of sustainable agriculture, a year of composting, a year of biodiversity, a year of agricultural heritage systems. Dr. Kuaf Khan will agree with me if I say this. So that needs to be it. And I think we should use this forum to make compost and give it to the Secretary General. If that happens, I'll be a happy person. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Rao. Mr. Rao is freelance consultant. His current interest is to live with as minimal a carbon footprint as possible. He harvests and conserves the rainwater that falls on my dwelling and use to grow vegetables and herbs for his consumption. He minimized the use of water and use all water used in his kitchen to water his vegetables, herbs, and ornamentals. All organic waste produced in his kitchen is recycled with vermicomposting that generate high quality compost for his vegetables and herbs. He also works with small initiatives and to other interest people and give them practical tips on how to lead a low carbon existence. His other passion is to create sustainable food production system using ecological principles. He is consult for individuals, organizations, government, and non-government bodies who have land and want to use it sensibly. He teaches at Bomi College, Bengaluru. In the past, he was dean. He working for Ibex Gallagher, Bengaluru. He works for Green Foundation from Bengaluru. He works for Rural Livelihoods Advisor for West Bengal State. He was National Farming System Expert for the farm. He was the technical team member with the Agriculture and Ecology program. He is also in training associate. He also is a principal investigator in the community agrobiodiversity conservation program and project officer in India. This is a short bio for Mr. Rao. Thank you, Mr. Rao, for a very good presentation. If you want to say something, please tell us.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Rao.
Dr. Vesna. Thank you very much.
Thank you for very good and interesting presentation. Now we